Hi, it's Michelle from 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop. Today we are going to learn how to make a Mother's Day shadow box card. So there's a couple supplies you need to grab. You'll need a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock for the base of the card, and you can choose to use scraps and mix and match the colors. I've got some white bling from Basil. Then you'll need a small strip of green, some cutout butterflies, a mom sentiment, or you can use stickers, whichever you'd like, and then some paper flowers. You can either make the paper flowers or you can use pre-made ones. So that's the supplies you'll need. Last thing you'll need is some good glue. I really like this art glitter glue, which is sold in the shop, because it takes just a bit to dry, so you can move things around if you make a mistake. All right, let's get started. So for the base pieces of the card, you'll need 3 pieces of paper. There are 2 of them, the larger ones, that are 4.5 inches by 6 3/4 inches. And then you're going to score them at 1/2 inch and then at another 1/2 inch. So to say that differently, 1/2 inch and then 1 inch in on this side, 1/2 inch and 1 inch in on this side, so that you've got your card has 2 1/2 inch score lines on each side. And you're going to do the same thing with the other larger piece. And then you're going to need one that's 4.5 by 5 3/4, scored at 1/2 inch on each side. Now, if you click the link down below, you'll see we actually have an SVG file you can download to just cut this out if you have a Cricut or a Silhouette. But you can easily create this without a machine just by measuring out your pieces. Then you'll want to cut 2 circles. You'll see these are just a little bit different. You can use a circle cutter or just trace something, however you want to do it. But the smaller piece is going to have the smaller circle. And then the larger piece, which becomes the front of the card, is going to have the bigger circle, so that when it's layered up, you can see the smaller circle inside. This is also a fun way to make this smaller piece a different color, and then you would have a pop of color in your circle window. All right, next let's take a look at assembly. So on the back piece, you are going to want to accordion fold the edges. You're going to want to start by folding in like this, and then back out so that you're getting that nice little accordion. You're going to do that on both sides. And you'll notice in the SVG file, you can kind of see faintly, I've got kiss cut lines in a circle. This is just to show me when the card is assembled what's going to show through, so that I know where to position things. You can achieve this the same way if you're manually making this, just by lightly tracing a circle, or just laying it and guesstimating, however you want to do it. All right, so now that we've got this accordion folded, we're going to do almost the same thing with the front piece, except we're going to fold backwards and then forwards on the front piece. So backwards and then forwards. So you can see the front piece has the folds back going backwards, and then the back piece has them going forward, and that way they will match up when we assemble the card like this. Okay, then the next step is to adhere this middle portion in. So what I'm going to do is fold both of my flaps backwards, and then this just tucks into the back of the card like this and gets adhered in there into those side edges, leaving the flaps on the side free. And then when I attach the front of my card, I'm going to attach those little side pieces. I attach the front and the back. Does that make sense? So this middle piece is adhered right inside the little fold lines here, and then the front piece attaches on the sides. So that is what the base of the card looks like before any embellishments. All right, so the next step is to attach this middle portion. And I've grabbed some of our craft plastic, which is just kind of thin acetate. And this is going to make some little pieces that I can adhere things to. So I am just going to glue this to the back side of my piece, like so. And then that way, once it's adhered, I have these little strips on the front that I can adhere things to. I'm actually going to put some cute little cutout butterflies on there. All right, so I've magically skipped a few steps. You've seen As you can see, I've got my butterflies adhered on. There's the little craft plastic strips, and I just adhered my butterflies onto the corner of the centerpiece, and then I've got my flowers in the back piece. And I just cut these out of paper and just popped them up, kind of layered them a bit so that it's a nice little shadow box effect. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere these two pieces together, again tucking that middle piece into the sides of the back. All right, for the next step, we're going to add a few embellishments to the front of the card. So I've just got a strip of green cardstock here, and I'm going to use my fringe scissors to cut some fringe. Now, you don't need to have this special tool. You can certainly just do this with regular scissors. This just makes it go a little faster. And I'm just cutting in, but not all the way through the paper. I'm making grass, if you can't tell. There's my grass. I'm just going to fluff it up a little. Then I'm going to adhere this to the back of the front of the card, if that makes sense. So here's the front of the card. I'm just going to glue it to the back so that it peeks through the window. All right, so I've got my grass adhered to my card. And next I'm going to sandwich the card together. So I've already just run some glue along the edges, and I'm going to carefully line these up. And this is one of the reasons I like the liquid glue, because you can kind of mess with it just a bit until it dries all the way. So if you want to reposition or make sure you're just getting it perfectly lined up, it's easy to do so. All right, so there is my card sandwich. You can see from the top I've got my 3 different layers, and that's what it looks like assembled. So I've got my grass, my butterflies, and my flowers in the back. Now I'm just going to do a few finishing touches. I cut out a little mom sentiment from the rose gold glitter paper. Sorry, the rose gold foil paper, which is my absolute favorite paper. And then I've got some silver glitter paper here. So I cut my mom just big enough that it's going to overlap. You can see it touches on the edges so that it will adhere nicely. You can do the same thing with stickers. If you don't have a die cutting machine, you can just overlap your stickers, maybe mat them on a piece of paper, or use another piece of acetate or craft plastic to hold it on. So I'm going to go ahead and get that adhered down. All right, so I've got my sentiment glued down, and then I had a few extra butterflies I just added on the top as well. You could add some lace along the edges, ribbon bow, whatever you like to do to embellish it. But that is what your shadow card looks like. It's kind of fun. Let me try to get a different angle so you can see how cool it looks in real life. And then the other fun thing is this actually folds flat for when you're mailing. Fairly flat, I should say, with all the layers, but you just slide it to one side, kind of pinch it down, and it is flat for mailing. So these shadow cards are so fun. Now that you know the basic technique, you can just recreate them for any holiday or occasion using different embellishments. I hope that was helpful. Be sure to check out 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop, where we carry all kinds of paper for all your crafting projects.